sort of an idea of what's going on thanks to his vultures. Now these vultures are going to go in there towards the lower right-hand position and going to try to harass a little bit. And meanwhile, no, a lot of those mines really doing some damage to Pure. He's just coming in down to clear this up. A couple mines there as well. Vulture's not going to be able to get through, but Dragoon's taking a little bit of damage because of lack of observers in the right area. These vultures are going to go down without doing any significant damage. Just going to fight back. Fight for their life while they can. But other than that, not too much going to happen. Dropship on the way, and Observer right behind the mineral line is going to spot that dropship. Probably full of vultures. Might have a siege tank in there as well. But he might, yeah, he's going to be... Wondering what he's actually going to do to defend against this because he has no way of getting units into that base. I think Zealots might run through, I think. Actually, no, never mind. I don't think they do. Probes only. So he's going to be able to get his probes out, but has no real way to defend that base. Going to need some cannons pronto. I'm not even sure if he has a pylon close to that nexus to plant some pylons on to help defend him because this drop's going to be coming in, and I don't think he has really any way of intercepting it whatsoever. He knows it's coming. He should know it's coming. But he really has no way of intercepting. Vulture's been planning around a lot of mines just to prevent this from being defended. There is a pylon there. Still don't see a cannon. This dropship might do a ton of damage. And Pure might be in some early trouble. He's trying to micro up here, getting some more gateways, trying to get some more forces in there. Gonna be seeing, I think it's full of vultures, so all those probes might just go down. Fantasy on the opposite side, gonna be expanding. Don't see a single cannon here. One siege tank, couple of vultures. They're gonna just clear up this probe line. Unless they run away, which they're going to try to do. Which is going to plant down mines, going to try to do as much damage as possible. All these probes are not going to be able to continue mining. And this entire lower right-hand base might even go down. Vulture seems like it's just going to go away. But Siegen could just stay in here and do as much damage as humanly possible. I think if a shuttle is going to be on the way, I think Pure is going to be able to save this. Might even use his Arbiter. Not sure if he has recall yet, but he might even utilize that if he needs to. Just going to break down his own pylons. Trying to take out some of these mines. Dropship coming back on the way. Going to pick up the siege tank before it takes the damage. Nice micro here from Fantasy. Way on top of everything. And Pure just being held back here on the back foot right now. Just being pushed back. Not really being able to exert any sort of pressure. Not going to be forced to get his probes back to the lower end position. On the opposite side, Fantasy long since has already his own third up. And the way the game is going right now, Fantasy definitely has a little bit of a leg up over Pure. He's doing a lot of damage. He's going around, harassing, shutting down the lower right hand, really helped him out. He's getting full upgrades, so he's going to have fully upgraded troops much sooner. Wondering whether he's going to go for a full-on assault on 2-1 when he has 2-1 upgrades, has weapons 2 and armor 1, and yet again going to go harass the lower right-hand position. The lack of a photon cannon really not helping him here, forcing those probes away again. The cannon's going to come up. But tank and vultures going to stay in there for as long as possible. The tank and dropship going to go away before that happens. So I think now harassing is going to be just a little bit tougher from now on. But still, I think Fantasy has done a remarkable amount of damage and lost only a few vultures. And that's a magnificent trade-off. Not losing the siege tank, not losing the dropship. Just meanwhile macroing up like crazy. Can stay on those 3 bases just because of the damage he's done. Pure good amount of work on a 4th. I think that's exactly what he's doing there at the upper right hand. And I think any chance he has of winning this is going to have to go through a big attack. Fantasy has a bunch of vultures. Seems like he might go to the upper right-hand position. That could be a lot of damage done there as well. But Pure, I just don't think he has quite the army yet. It has very Dragoon heavy, which is going to help against those vultures and those mines eventually. But he's going to need some Zealots if he wants to actually go for a heavy push. Few vultures are going to go towards that upper right-hand position. And Fantasy overall just scouting everywhere. Just wants to make sure where his opponent is. Wants to make sure what his opponent is doing. Knows that at 4th base coming up. Doesn't seem like he's going to be able to shut it down. But still has his dropship flying around towards the upper right hand. I really don't think it's going to be able to do much of anything. But Fantasy's trying to do some damage there with his vultures on that Nexus. I really don't think that Nexus is going to go down. Dropship seems like he's going to want to drop a siege tank there behind, close to those vultures just to help against these Dragoons coming in from the back. Not quite sure if it's a wise idea. They've meanwhile gotten all the shields down on that Nexus, so that's some damage right there. But overall, not quite enough to take it down. Just not enough firepower on those vultures. Wondering what the upgrades are for Fantasy at this point. I think Pure should have at least one weapons upgrade, and now gonna try to go for a big damage attack here. Where's the recall? Where's the recall? There's the recall. Recalls another Arbiter in here. Gonna lose his initial one. Any second now. Does a bit of damage. All the SCVs just coming off. Fighting as much as possible. A lot of Dragoons, a lot of the Zealots in there. Didn't see any single mines blowing up. So that was one of the weaknesses of Fantasies. He's going to lose at least one armory here. But he's going to be able to lose much more. He's trying to desperately repair the second army. Makes sure that he's alive. Wondering whether his weapons to upgrade was actually on that army. That's going to delay his push quite a bit. Pure has weapons 1 upgrades on his own forces, but seems like he's going to be pushed back without doing any too much significant damage. Did delay the economy a lot, did kill a lot of the SCVs and picked off 1 army, so that it definitely helps. Never mind, that was the armor upgrade that he took care of. Siege Tank do have weapons too, so push is still possible. He's going to be a little bit weaker because of that lack of armor. It's going to take a little bit extra damage. Has a science vessel just now in there. Would have definitely wanted that for an EMP on that arbiter earlier, but no dice. What are you going to do? What are you gonna do when you don't have that freaking arbiter? Don't have that freaking EMP to take care of that freaking arbiter. But with that attack, a little bit of pressure being put on by Puri, meanwhile giving himself some time to macro up to get that 4th base up, get it up and running. He is running on 4th base in his entire right side. And seems like he has a little bit of control on the middle wall. Fantasy just kind of backed off, turtling up. Still has that huge defensive grid, which I really think is going to be hard to penetrate. He's going to need some more mines at the front, not allow Pure to break through. A little bit of a video glitching there that happens sometimes from, you know, the source that I get these videos from. That's definitely not a rare problem. This is not a vid I got from Bazy. This is a vid I got from TeamLiquid.net, the torrents, and sometimes the videos there are glitchy because I really think the person that provides the videos there is not as good. Nice there. I think that science vessel actually got an EMP on the arbiter, so he couldn't quite get a recall in. Meanwhile, now Fantasy yet again putting on pressure here at the upper right-hand position. Has a couple siege tanks. Mine there. Gonna hit the tank, and the tank gonna go down. Last mine actually picking off the Dragoon rather than the tank. But still, that attack at the upper right-hand position cleared fairly well. Still see the Fantasy has a big defensive grid, but he might want to start thinking about his 4th base at this point. Not quite sure where he's going to want to go, because stretching the grid to the lower left might be a mistake. So I think that 12 o'clock main might be the way to go. Just kind of, it's also a bit of a stretch, but at least then he's going to be able to defend it. He's not going to be too far away. And seems like actually a Pure going to go for attack here. Not too many mines at the front. EMP going to go off. Hit a lot of the forces. Did not hit the Arbiter. Nice stasis there on some of the tanks at the front. Did see a defensive Matrix there, I think, on a tank as well. A lot of tanks, a lot of Vulture here to protect at the front. And oh my god, look at all that blood. Pure going to back off. That attack not doing too much, picking up some forces here and there. And despite the lack of mines, I just really think, where were the Zealots? I saw a small group. I didn't even see 12 Zealots in there, I think. Not even a controlled group of Zealots to run in, take the early fire, and just run in and try to do as much damage to the tanks. Because really, looking at that, it seemed like a lot of the tanks were out in the open. Should have been able to push in. But now, the Zealots are going to be facing off against Vultures. They not going to be able to do much against the Vultures blocking for the tanks. And now I think there's going to be a chance for Fantasy to start pushing out a little bit. Has those siege tanks back, sieging up, getting quite a few shots off. With that science vessel in there, of course. The Arbiter stealth not going to be much help. And while Pure still continuing to macro on these 4 bases, I think actually Fantasy, as it pushes, that could be a good opportunity to build a command center and just continue his own macro management game. Oh, nice little siege tank positioning here on the bridge. The Dragoons run back, get shelled like crazy. They run forth, they get shelled like crazy. Pure losing a lot of the forces and completely losing the battles. Science vessels managed to get some nice EMPs off, so the Arbiter is going to get shut down. And he's trying to just continue getting his defense up with photon cannons at the upper right-hand position. But these 4 bases, despite giving some economy, he's just losing the battles. Losing the battles in the middle. There's a very wide open middle for the most part, but he's not managed to get any sort of encirclement, not managed to get any sort of positioning for himself, because his Zealots just run into Vultures, and these Dragoons get shelled, and Fantasy just manages to position his tanks so well that you saw Dragoons trying to run in back for the retreat, and what they face is a massive barrage of tank fire, and that's not what you want to do. Now he's actually being backed into a corner here at the 6 o'clock position. Has one single shuttle. That's not going to do much, I think, against Fantasy. But he's just pushing and eradicating all of Pure's forces, and honestly, the way looking at this game right now, it doesn't seem like there's much Pure can do at this point. Trying to add additional targets, and despite the fact that his economy hasn't been as heavily bothered for the last few minutes, for the last 5 or so minutes plus, he's been able to macro freely, but he's just losing all these battles, losing all these troops is not really going to be a big of a help, and his Arbiters have just not given him the auxiliary he needed. Another EMP just hitting those Dragoons, that means they just melt to tank fire. Mine's going to go off. Look at that one single mine picking up 4 Dragoons, and now Force is going to be able to run everywhere. Pure desperately trying to defend this up right hand with nothing but Zealots, and he almost has nothing but that. The Arbiter is completely ineffective. One single stasis that he got on that assaulting force earlier on, but in the end, just not really helping him much. At this point, has nothing but a skeleton crew. His Zealots trying to run in. They're instantly dying. Fantasy going to be able to expand towards the 12 o'clock position. scans off, spots very little of anything for pure. And at this point, he's just being pushed in all the way to the natural. Look at the huge amount of siege tank that Fantasy has. Very few auxiliary forces at this point, but the siege tanks will be able to get the job just fine. There you go, pure GG's. And Fantasy makes it look easy, honestly. Just makes it look easy. Raping Protosses left and right. And yeah, I don't know what the hell's up with the new outfit. Okay, it seems like it's just the new team shirts. That's not bad. That's not bad. They're fairly cool, I guess. So yeah, seems like he only has 3 wins in the season so far. That's a start. We're going to see how he continues going. And I'm going to head off and go and bring you guys the next set. GG, ranching out. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed.